Bad driving has become normalized.
There's a common phrase among urbanists that goes, "You're not stuck in traffic, you are traffic," referring to drivers who complain about congestion, not realizing
Yo, it's the okay, it's not all the drivers that are reason for congestion, bro. If everybody didn't drive like a dumbass, there wouldn't be bad traffic, bro. The amount of motherfuckers that see, oh, I have to get off in a mile, and they're in the far left lane, and then it's 0.1 miles. They got 100 meters till they gotta fucking get off. They go, oh, slam on the brakes. Jersey slide that. Everybody slams on their brakes. Now you just congested everything for 4 seconds. Then 9 other people do it. Now we're congested for 40 seconds. And then over an hour, now there's just fucking wall-to-wall traffic everywhere because people don't know how to fucking drive.
that they are contributing to it. Suburbanites will say that the city is noisy, not realizing that most of that noise comes from suburbanites driving their cars into the city. Some people will complain that building bike lanes or transit lanes will make pollution worse because cars will spend more time idling in traffic, not realizing that providing viable alternatives to driving will mean fewer people need to drive in the first place.
That's what we really need, dude, at least in the US. The public transportation is actually straight up garbage, bro. If you're in a big city, yeah, there's like subways and trains and trams. But like outside of that, bro, motherfuckers just be taking the bus. That's it. If you don't live in a big, big city with like good public transportation, you're taking the bus or you're driving.
British psychologist Ian Walker refers to this as motor normativity, also known as car brain. Many cities in North America are designed exclusively for cars. It didn't used to be that way.
I would say most, dude. Most cities are car-to-car travel. Like, most people... Chat, for the people with jobs in chat, how far of a drive is your job from your apartment or house? 20 minutes? 25 minutes? 35 minutes? Some people be driving an hour. Hour commute, dude. Driving to a different state.
Does it have to be? But because
like New Jersey's weird because a lot of people in New Jersey work in Philly or New York, or vice versa. They're from Philly or New York and they work in New Jersey, and so it's just people driving back and forth everywhere. And they're not taking the train. They're not taking this. They're not taking that because it's slower.
Driving is so normalized, people view cars as the default form of transportation and can't comprehend how it's possible to live without them. Car crashes and dangerous driving are seen as unavoidable. It's just an everyday part of modern life. I mean, there's an entire genre on YouTube with thousands of videos dedicated to car crash compilations. And there's even an entire TV show called Canada's Worst Driver that has over 14 seasons.
I've watched this show. It's astonishing how bad people are. Dude, I feel like if they do a show like this, they got to take your license away. Like, if you fail the test, you know what it is? They got to make the driving test harder. They got to make it harder. And I know that's probably upsetting to hear if you're somebody that's like, 16, 17, trying to get your license. Bro, the driver's test, the hardest thing is parallel parking. What? You're never even going to use that most of the time. What? And the driver's test is literally stop at a stoplight, learn how to turn right, drive, and don't exceed the speed limit, and then just fucking parallel park. What about merging on a 6-lane? What about merging into a 6-lane highway when the semi-truck behind you won't get over? And his load is so wide, pause, that he's kind of hanging into the lane to the left of you. And you need to pass him when the median's about this far away from you, and the actual shoulder of the road's about this big. So now you're sitting there going, and the semi-truck puts his left blinker on, and he starts going into your lane. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? We got to assess that. I think it's got to be, with the advancement of AI and technology, start doing simulation shit, bro. Microsoft Flight Simulator, but for driving, right? Do a mixture. Do the parallel park bullshit. Do the driver's test, but also put a motherfucker on a bridge. Put a motherfucker on a bridge. A 3-lane bridge. And say, all right, here's 9 exits right off the bridge. You got to get in the right one. Figure it out. Go. Shit like that. Because people don't know how to do that. And then they just suck at driving. And it's like, dude, there's types of drivers that suck at that shit and then don't and then do it, and then they just make traffic congested. And then there's people that flat out won't drive over bridges because they're that scared or bad at it.
And 115 episodes.
Like, there's people that only drive on back roads because they're afraid of the highway.
Stopped at a green light. You're stopped at a green light?
Yes.
This assumption that everyone should drive and has to drive results in many bad drivers on the road because, believe it or not, some people are just not cut out to drive. And that's completely fine.
No, and I don't even want to look at the motherfuckers, bro. The fact that, like, you talk to, like, dumbass people on the daily, and then you could see them going 85 miles an hour down a highway barreling in a Ford F-250, just yo, you're in a death trap. You know, you could kill people in that fucking thing.
Yet we consistently build cities exclusively for cars and design streets that prioritize vehicle speeds rather than the safety of people. We need to change the way we approach road safety because, as of now, bad driving has become normalized.
What are you saying, fam? Yo! What, fam? Yo!
Toronto's most notorious speed camera was just taken down by vandals.
Not only are full self-driving cars 1,000 times safer, it would fix traffic, and you'll be able to drive everywhere at like 100.
Okay, I've never been in a Waymo, and I do think they are good. They're good in a sense of, like, you kind of need all the cars to be self-driving cars, but the funniest shit about Waymos is, did you ever see the one video where they got in a self-driving, like, Waymo, and it just kept doing loops in a parking lot, and he couldn't get out? So he starts filming himself, and he's like, dude, it's just doing circles in this Home Depot parking lot. I can't do anything. And he's like trapped in this car.
20 miles an hour.
In March of 2020, at the beginning of the COVID pandemic, U.S. Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin made this statement. "We don't shut down the economy because tens of thousands of people die on the highways. It's a risk we accept so we can move about." Over 40,000 Americans die each year from traffic collisions, and hundreds of thousands are severely injured, many of which face permanently life.
The problem with self-driving cars, though, is people don't care. Well, people don't want to die in a car crash. But people don't care if somebody dies in a car crash to human error. People would care if they died in a car crash due to robot error. Like, that's one of the advancements of, like, computing and technology that's really good, is that, like, we could get in a situation where computers just drive you everywhere and you don't have to do it. People would still die, but less would die, and when somebody dies, it would learn that to a T to where nobody would die in that way again. The problem is, if you get into a self-driving car and you fucking die, your family's gonna be so much more mad than if you died in a car crash and it's your fault because you blew a fucking stop sign. Because then they have nobody to blame but you, right? Or the guy that was driving. But if a robot killed you, oh, all hands are off the table, right? Even though more people die to humans than people would die to robots, or robot car driving, you know, like self-driving cars, people would still rather have, you know, 500x deaths from humans than self-driving cars, because you're putting your life in your own hands versus something else.
Altering conditions. To put that into perspective, that's equivalent to a fully loaded Airbus A380, the world's largest commercial aircraft, crashing into the ground and killing everyone on board.
Wait, what?
Over 40,000 Americans die each year from traffic collisions, and hundreds of thousands are severely injured, many of which face permanently life-altering conditions. To put that into perspective, that's equivalent to a fully loaded Airbus A380, the world's largest commercial aircraft, crashing into the ground and killing everyone on board every single week. This has reached crisis levels as pedestrian fatalities have increased.
I mean, it's scary, dude. Like, the amount of, like, near-death car crashes people get into is insane. Like, I was talking to y'all about how I was going, like, 75 on a highway, and I'm merging lanes, and a guy just starts merging into the lane that I'm merging into at the same time as me, and I have to fucking full swerve away. Like, if me and him collided, that would have surely been a fucking car pileup. Somebody might have died.
Dramatically over the past decade.
And anybody that's been driving a car for, like, a while probably has so many, like, near-death experiences in a car. Or just near car crash experiences.
A trend not seen in other developed countries. So no, it's not because of cell phones.
Oh, wait, the U.S. is that much higher? Oh, my God. Pedestrian fatalities, USA versus European Union.
in other developed countries. So no, it's not because of cell phones. But in America, we brush this off as being the cost of doing business. That's just the price we pay to keep the wheels of the economy turning.
Well, the other problem is, too, cars are getting larger and larger, and part of that is the thought behind, the average human's brain is, hey, if this car's really big, I also want a really big car, because then if we crash, I'll probably be safe. So, like, in Europe, you see a lot of small, hatchback level cars. But in the U.S., it's these big lifted F-250s that weigh thousands of pounds. Because the bigger the cars around you, the bigger the car you're going to want. Because you're going to feel a lot safer in a larger car if your car's bigger than everybody else's. And it's also like an ego thing for some people.
Two biggest culprits of this are vehicle speed and vehicle size. Anyone who knows a bit of physics understands that the formula for kinetic energy is half an object's mass times velocity squared. So as cars get bigger and heavier and as people drive faster, the chances of dying from a collision increase exponentially. But in the US and Canada, it's widely accepted to treat speed limits like suggestions, that it's okay to drive 10 or 20 over the speed limit because everyone does it. And
I'm going to have this take. I think if you're speeding on like a rural road, that's different than in a highway. Like if you're on a 6-lane highway and everybody's going 75 when the speed limit's 60, you're going 75. Because then it gets concerning that you're slower than everybody and everybody's weaving around you in dangerous manners, right? No, seriously. Like if I'm going 60 and everybody else is going 75, they're going to start going, whoom, 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 and they're not even checking behind them. They're jersey sliding around your ass. Now, if you're going 75, they'll just follow you. So it's like, I'm not advocating for speeding, but there's certain situations where like you got to move with the pack in a car. And that's like just how people drive in the US.
the police aren't going to bother ticketing you.
So it's okay to go 90 and a 45. No, not advocating that for you, Slimmy Jimmy, you stupid fuck. You just didn't listen to what I said and you're trying to rage bait me.
One study finds that 42% of drivers don't even consider themselves to be speeding until they're 10 to 14 miles per hour over the speed limit. One psychological reason for this is
I think the average American, though, goes 5 to 10 over on a rural road. On a highway, way more. Sorry if I was rude, Slimmy Jimmy. That shit just pissed me off. No, it's not okay to go 90 and a 45. You would get arrested for doing that. Like, there's a level of going over the speed limit where you have to appear in court and you get your license taken. If you went 45 over the speed limit, you're never driving again. Like
that the vast majority of drivers don't face any
you would go to jail.
consequences for driving dangerously most of the time. Speeding, running red lights, and driving while impaired happen very often, but for an average person, the chances of getting into a collision are pretty rare. I mean,
see, like in that instance, in this instance, everybody should get out of the car and shame that person and just be like, shame, shame, shame. You almost killed somebody. Shame, and then move on. But then they just drive away.
Chances of getting into a collision are pretty rare. I mean, if it wasn't, nobody would be driving. But this may
I lay on the horn, bruh. Hey, it's there for a reason. Motherfuckers don't use their horn enough. You gotta use your horn. I feel like that's a problem in the U.S. In big cities, motherfuckers use their horns. On highways, bro, lay on that motherfucker. Lay on that motherfucker. Let people know. And then they're gonna snap their head. They're gonna look. Right now they know you're there. I feel like people get in car crashes when they could just go, and then somebody goes, oh, fuck, and they move out of the way.
It's many drivers overconfident. They see that their actions don't have immediate consequences, so
rolling stop signs. I've gotten pulled over twice for rolling
they're
stop
much more
signs. I ain't rolling them like that, though. I've rolled a stop sign. I've gotten pulled over for rolling a stop sign. This guy's going like 15 over. Like, he's just, like, not even stopping. I'll, like, slow down to where my wheels don't, like, I don't go like this. But, like, I'm, like, 3 miles an hour. And then I go, because there's no cars. But then you get pulled over for that.
Have immediate consequences, so they're much more likely to keep doing it. Studies show that most people believe they are better drivers than they actually are, and people tend to underestimate the risks that come with breaking the rules. Speed is one of the biggest reasons why cars crash into buildings so often here in North America.
One of the biggest things that made me realize that like turbo speeding is stupid is that the amount of time you save speeding decreases with the higher the speed, with the higher the speed. Like if you're going 10 over in a 40, you're going to save more time than if you're going 10 over in a 75. Like if the speed limit's 75 and you're going 90, you're going to save like a minute. Not even. Like you could do the math for like the distance. Like it's very minimal. Like if you had just gone the speed limit, it would be better.
The official number is poorly documented, but this is estimated to happen at least 100 times a day in the US, and many experts still think that's an undercount. Cars crashing onto
I'd be pissed, dude. This woman just runs into your fucking house.
a day
Oh my god.
in the US, and many experts
That's a paycheck. Now she got to pay for that shit.
still think that's an undercount. Cars crashing onto sidewalks have
Oh
also
wait, that was just somebody in the car. The car driver, the driver in the car didn't even get out.
undercount. Cars crashing onto sidewalks have also become so common that this was a genuine tweet from the Colorado State Patrol. They're basically telling people to only walk one way down the sidewalk so you can make eye contact with the distracted driver.
I do that. I know you're not supposed to. If I'm riding a bike on a road, I ride towards the traffic. Like if there's not a bike lane. I don't like riding a bike and having cars pass from behind me. I would rather see the car in front of me, so if it's fucking driving towards me, I could weave, versus you're supposed to go with. I don't give a fuck. Have a cop pull me over for that. I'll gladly take the ticket. If there's not a bike lane and I'm riding a bike on a road, I'm riding in the opposite lane. I don't care if I fuck up the congestion of the traffic. I'm not getting hit by, because you're getting hit by a car. That's how you get clipped, is when a motherfucker's driving the same direction you are.
Who's about to kill you. I mean, it's not like there's anything we can do about it. When we try to do enforcement through speed cameras, speed traps, or ticketing, many people scoff at it, claiming they're just cash grabs or that they're useless. They'll claim that speeding is actually safer because you're just going with the flow of traffic, which is true, but
Yeah, I think it's true in certain scenarios, but when you do say that, then it advocates for everybody to speed and nobody will ever stop.
everyone is still speeding. Some people will take this further and go out of their way to block or destroy speed cameras. In Toronto, there are over 500 cases of this in a single year, and one particular camera was spray painted on 31 times over the span of just a few months. Here's parts.
Well, speed cameras are also the most useless shit in the world because you know where the speed cameras are. Even when I was in Iceland, I didn't know where the speed cameras were in Iceland. In Iceland, like the fucking fastest speed limit's like 50 miles an hour or something. But all these cars would pass me and then slam on their brakes because they're locals and they know where the speed cameras are. So you speed and then you go, I'm probably about 200 meters away from a speed camera, slam on your brakes, go the speed limit, and then speed again. Like,
Side Drive, a street that's notorious for speeding cars, aggressive driving, and frequent collisions. Over the past 10 years, there have been over 1,400 collisions on this road, leading to 5 serious injuries and 3 deaths. After a collision in 2021 involving 5 vehicles and the death of a 70-year-old couple, the City of Toronto reduced the speed limit and installed a speed camera, which has since issued over 63,000 tickets and generated nearly $7 million, making Parkside Drive one of the most ticketed roads in Toronto. According to the city, these measures have reduced the average speed, but some vehicles were still caught going over 120 kilometers an hour. The only thing
120 and a 40?
here that's keeping people from driving
Still, KPH, what is 120 KPH? Like 65?
faster is all the traffic. That speed camera was vandalized earlier this year because, of course it was, and recently, someone chopped it down
75?
like a tree. A few days later, the city put it back up, but on the same day, someone chopped it down again. I don't think speed cameras are effective at reducing speeding.
Yo, I remember when I was a kid, I saw a motherfucker steal a stop sign. Holy shit. I saw him go, it was in like a neighborhood. He like walked up and went, and picked that shit out of the ground, just walked away.
And there are much better ways of slowing down cars, which I'll get to
It wasn't at like a big intersection.
later. But it really shows just how normalized it is for drivers to break the rules when cyclists are constantly scrutinized for rolling through a stop sign, while this is considered heroic. Traffic collisions have become synonymous with the term accident, as if these collisions are unexpected and unpreventable. Recently, I've been really into those airline crash documentaries. You know those videos that dive super deep?
That's cap. It's not cap. This was when I was way younger. I was probably like 6 years old. I might be misremembering it slightly, but I remember my neighbor, he was like 35 or 40, and he lived with his mom who was older, and he was, I don't know what disability he had, but he had a disability, and he wasn't trying to steal it. Like, he just ripped it out of the ground and then walked away with it. And then they had to put it back.
Into aviation incidents and why they happened. If you watch any of those, you would know that crash investigations are complicated. They don't just blame the pilots and fire them. They go super deep into all the underlying psychological and systemic factors that...
Was he the guy that put corn CDs in your backyard? Oh, the dude, that guy. Yo, that shit was crazy. I was like 8 years old. I was like 8 or 9. Walk outside, just see some dude butt-ass naked. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? This was a different guy. No, this was a different guy. I was like, yo, what the fuck? And it was a different place, too. And then I tell my mom, I go back inside, I was like, that was weird. And he wasn't like looking at me. He was just like outside naked. And then one day I like see this CD sticking through the fence. There's like 2 or 3 CDs. I was like, what is this? I like look at the CD and it's just straight porn. It was like one of those old like porn CDs.
Led to the crash. The airlines restructure pilot training and adopt stricter maintenance procedures.
Then he got kicked out by the tenant.
The aircraft manufacturers improve their technology and quality control. Well, unless you're Boeing. But the point here is that it's complicated, and it's all done so that we're 99.9% sure that a similar crash won't happen again. Now compare that to the way we treat car crashes. In North America, there's a huge emphasis on personal responsibility. Whenever a car crash occurs, the conversation is always about whose fault it was. That person did something wrong to cause the crash, and if we all be more careful next time, we can avoid those crashes. They're always blamed on the behavior of individual road users, as if that's the only factor that leads to crashes. They'll say that our roads aren't inherently dangerous, stupid people are dangerous. This is one of the main arguments people make for autonomous vehicles. Driverless cars will remove human error from our roads. Our cities will be safer than ever. You'll sometimes...
Is that not true? He's saying it like it's sarcastic. I feel like the majority of car crashes are preventable.
Hear about the techno-utopian future where every car is self-driving and communicates with each other in real time, allowing them to flow through intersections seamlessly. But man, I would hate to...
I did not think that it would look like this. I thought like self-autonomous cars would still have like traffic lights. They would still follow like common road rules.
Have to cross this thing.
I didn't think it would just be like, all right, we're going to remove the stop lines. The AI are just going to read where the other cars are.
First fatal collision involving an autonomous vehicle happened here in Tempe, Arizona. A woman jaywalked across this road at night and was hit by one of Uber's first autonomous vehicles. The crash report concluded that the person in the vehicle was at fault for not paying attention, the woman was at fault for jaywalking, and Uber was at fault because their vehicle didn't even classify them as a pedestrian until 1.2 seconds before the crash. But do you really think people have the attention spans to just sit in a self-driving car and look out the window in case anything happens?
I don't know, man. I think that's a mixture of things. I think that mainly falls on the... Dude, who does that fall on? I mean, that's kind of crazy to just walk across a highway in the middle of the night. But I think it's also like you shouldn't be on your phone in a car. It's the AI. But I don't know.
Back in 2013, when Google was first testing its...
Like, dude, you ever drive a car and you see some guy... Bro, this shit pisses me off. Somebody on the side of a road, there's no shoulder of the road. They're just walking on the road. It's pitch black. There's no street lights. And they're wearing all black. Why? Why are you doing that? You're wearing all black, walking in the middle of the road in the middle of the night. Like, you're almost asking to get hit by a car. Like, obviously people should be paying attention, but there's multiple times where I've literally had to go, oh fuck, and like swerve, even though I'm only going like 30 or 40, because there's just a guy standing.
Autonomous vehicles, they gave it out to several employees, telling them to always pay attention, never take their hand off the steering wheel, and that hidden cameras would be watching them. Despite these warnings, people were texting, putting on makeup, and falling asleep, all while they were driving on a highway.
Yo, that's nuts. Falling asleep at the car.
There have also been
Fully trusting, just like one of the first waves of AI cars.
several cases of people getting arrested or killed while riding in a driverless Tesla, despite Elon Musk claiming that they are feature-complete, full self-driving. People just become reliant on technology very quickly, so if drivers are expected to manually take over when something goes wrong, what's gonna happen when people start driving less and lose their driving skills? Better technology and automation
That's true.
allows us to push the limits, add backup cameras to vehicles and people might stop looking over their shoulders, add lane change assistance technology and people might stop using their mirrors. It would be naive to think that technology will just make all our problems go away without introducing new problems that we didn't even consider before. Going back to that crash in Arizona, this is where it took place. It's effectively a 4-lane highway sitting right beside a park and a concert venue. Before the crash, this median had a decorative brick pathway, which looks a lot like a pedestrian path. Yet there isn't a single crosswalk unless you walk nearly 400 feet to the north or
Damn, dude. Yeah, so the jaywalking, it's like you blame them, but at the same time, like, I would also cross the road like they did, you know? Like, everybody jaywalks. That's like, I would say that is a crime that every person's committed. I jaywalk. Everybody jaywalks. You're just I'm crossing the road. Literally, when I was in New York, I jaywalked every day. If there weren't cars coming, I would cross the road. And if there were cars coming, I would walk across and I would look and I would go, if I get hit and die, it's my fault. Like, I'm making that peace with myself. I'm going to jaywalk if police don't stop you? No. The cops, everybody jaywalks in New York. When you know, if there's no cars coming, you go, there's no cars, and it's a 1-lane road, and you go, still look both ways because you're a dumbass if you don't. And you go, all right, and then you walk across the road. Cops don't care.
2,700 feet.
The only way they're ticketing you for jaywalking is if you flat out like run diagonally across an intersection. Or like sprint when a car and I have to swerve around you or something.
Cross the river to the south. But instead of actually adding more crosswalks and redesigning the road to slow down cars, the city replaced the brick pathways with rocks and added more signs prohibiting pedestrians. This is ultimately the issue here. Traffic engineers actively design roads that are hostile to people walking for the sake of speeding up cars. So is it...
Oh my god, dude. Or there's no, like, I mean, dude, the reason that I'm jaywalking too is because, like, if I'm standing on this road and it's nighttime and it says I shouldn't walk and I start hitting that thing and it goes, wait, 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 wait. And it sounds like this. Wait, wait, wait. Fuck you, and I cross the road.
So is it really a surprise
I'm not advocating for that, by the way. It's like, if there's traffic like this, I'm not running across the road. It's just like, if there's no cars on the road, I'm going to cross.
speeding and road safety are such major issues here? We already have these solutions to our transportation problems, but most of them involve slowing down the cars, which is just unacceptable for American cities. Instead, we get told that better technology and self-driving cars will solve all of our problems without fixing the underlying issue, which is our inefficient and dangerous car-dependent transportation system. It's like a drug addict claiming he'll be rich and successful without changing his unhealthy addictions. Decades of road safety research and best practices from around the world show that road and street design is one of the biggest factors in speed-related
I mean, we just showed a guy smoking a cigarette. You need to show dude, like, using, like, crack or something. Like,
collisions. Wide, flat, and straight roads make it easy and comfortable to drive at high speeds. But narrow streets with curves and obstacles like trees or bollards will make drivers uncomfortable driving too fast and reduce the damage if a crash does occur. We need to accept that when a driver crashes onto the sidewalk, they are the ones to face the consequences, and not the innocent people walking on the sidewalk. A great example is the Vision Zero strategy first adopted by Sweden in the 90s, or the sustainable safety approach from the Netherlands. When a crash occurs, human error is considered, but they also look at how the environment and the design of the street can be changed to avoid.
Yo, like this, bro. The bike lane shouldn't be right next to the fucking car lane with no median, bro. Oh my god, that pisses me off. The bike lane's like this, and then it's just the cars. And I'm like, if they fucking go, you're dead, you're dead. Like, they don't even need a crash. Like, they could move 6 inches to the right, and you're dead. They could clip you.
Look at how the environment and the design.
Like, this looks so nice. Nowhere in is there anywhere in the US that has shit like this?
Of the street can be changed to avoid future crashes.
Oh my god, it's just peaceful. You're not hearing. It's the Ford sputtering that definitely wouldn't pass a fucking engine test.
This is how Oslo, the capital of Norway, achieved 0 pedestrian fatalities in 2019. Hoboken in New Jersey hasn't had a single pedestrian death in the past 7 years after the city redesigned several intersections to improve visibility.
Yeah. So you don't have to like peek around. That looks fine, but it's still not like safe to like just run. Okay, Hoboken is like, this is better, but it's not like there's no bike lanes that are good like this. Like there's just more visibility for the cars and the people.
Going back to
That's still good though.
Parkside Drive, the city has proposed redesigning the street.
Like this is bad. I don't like this. Also, are these like AI people?
And adding bike lanes, which are proven to make.
Yeah, bike lanes are good, but I would say even have a median separation between the bike lane. Have a bike lane and then have a fucking concrete wall in front of the bike lane and the people.
Redesigning the street.
Don't just have these little plastic flimsy.
And adding bike lanes, which are proven to make streets safer for all road users. But this has upset many people because it would slow down vehicle travel times by 1 to 3 minutes. Mind you, this is a street that runs.
Never mind, that's unacceptable.
Right in between a
Never mind, don't add it.
residential neighborhood and the largest public park in the city, with sports facilities, playgrounds, and a zoo for children. So I really don't agree with framing this issue in terms of traffic flow as opposed to safety. But you'll see this constantly. People opposing road safety improvements like bike lanes, even.
And I feel like if you add if you added bike lanes in every city in the US, I think momentarily traffic would get worse, and then it would get better because people that have to drive 3 miles would be more motivated to take the bike. Then that increases exercise, decreases obesity rate, traffic stays about the same, more people can take a bike to work. I feel like it's just a win-win-win-win-win scenario.
On small residential neighborhood streets, or even major streets that are lined with shops and have rapid transit under it. They actively fight against infrastructure that will save people's lives, all because it would slow down their cars by a few minutes. If you were to go back 100 years, however, this attitude would be completely different. In the 1920s, it was perfectly fine for people to just walk across the street. Streets were universally recognized as shared public spaces. But as cars became faster and started killing thousands of people every year, they were viewed as deadly intruders, and people overwhelmingly wanted strict regulations like speed governors on them. Whenever a motor vehicle struck someone walking, the motorist was fully responsible, because, they were the ones driving a big fast vehicle on a busy street. The auto industry knew that cars were fast and deadly, but tight regulations would destroy their profits. So they spent millions of dollars on massive campaigns to redefine the streets as a space exclusively for cars.
Dude, this looks so fucking stressful, man. Oh my god. Driving or walking across the street, dude, there's just people standing in the road. There's just people standing in the road just walking.
Redefine the streets as a
god, dude. Like this woman's just standing there.
Exclusively for cars. They lobbied the government and actively fought against measures to limit their speed. They sponsored school
lobbying should be illegal, I agree.
Safety campaigns to brainwash children, and they invented the term jaywalking to shame people for crossing the street. Within just a decade, the auto industry had gaslighted everyone
Okay. Well, I don't think, yeah, the term jaywalking to make it a crime's a little crazy, but I think this guy is also a fucking idiot. Like, I'm not gonna side with the drivers that are running over people, but at the same time, this guy sees this car barreling towards him and goes, "Yeah, he'll probably stop. Yeah, he'll probably stop."
and they invented the term jaywalking to
Would have
shame
gotten hit. Would have gotten hit right there. That car would have clipped him. Would have gotten ran over.
people for crossing the street.
And he's like, oh.
Within just a decade, the auto industry had gaslighted everyone into believing streets were motor thoroughfares, and people walking were now the intruders rather than the victims. Today,
I think you just need two separate things. I think you need just a driver's place and then walking place.
the way we treat bicycles and electric micromobility is the same way we treated cars back in the 1920s. When it comes to cars, we're willing to sacrifice safety for the sake of speed and convenience. But when it comes to bicycles or scooters, they're treated like a major safety hazard. Sure, there are cases where e-bike riders have injured people on the sidewalk, but the vast majority of fatal collisions and injuries are caused by cars. And we don't pay much attention to this anymore because it's so normalized. Micromobility isn't the problem, it's part of the
Like, how did that guy even run over the fucking sidewalk?
solution. Encouraging people to cycle instead of drive
That's TOS. I don't think he would show somebody getting gravely injured, chat.
will make our streets safer, because the safest car trip is the one that never happens in the first place. Here's the thing though, in many parts of the
Well, you can't just get rid of cars. Like, what the solution would have to be, like, literally increase public transportation drastically. You need to build more railroads. You need to have more subways. You need to have more buses.
US and Canada, you literally cannot go anywhere without a car,
Oh,
which
yeah.
means that children and people's grandmas with poor eyesight are forced to drive. Otherwise, they have no independent mobility at all. Yet, as soon as a child turns 16, learning to drive is seen as a rite of passage, a step they take to finally become an adult. That learning to drive grants you the freedom and independence
Instead of implementing pedestrian security, send $500 billion to Israel. Yeah, give them more missiles.
to go wherever you want.
Where
And
my tax dollars should go.
if you don't do
Weaponry.
this, people look down on you and tell you to grow up. How other people have to drive you around for the rest of your life. Or they'll assume you're just a drunk driver who got their license taken away. Car dependency forces people who don't want to drive or shouldn't be driving to drive. Sure, driverless cars might help, but a lack of accessibility is a problem inherently caused by car-dependent planning. So, are they really necessary? In many walkable neighborhoods, it's already common to see children or old people getting around by themselves and being fully independent. Even in the suburbs, like here in Markham, Ontario, this bike lane allows many seniors to safely bike themselves.
And that's like, even though there's no gap, that feels like a safe bike. Like, this feels like a safe bike lane because you're like way off and there's a railing. But even if there's not a railing, like here, like you're so far from the road that like you're not worried.
Bike themselves to this mall, which is a vital community gathering space for Chinese Canadians. AVs are not here to save the planet. They're here to save the auto industry. When I imagine a city of the future, I don't think of this. I think of this. Pedestrianized plazas that encourage people to walk around and relax. Massive transportation hubs with fast, frequent intercity trains and automated metros. High-quality bicycle paths and giant bicycle parking garages to encourage active transportation. And lots of greenery and rivers integrated
Yo, like e-bike shit. Just like an e-bike that goes like 20 miles an hour.
into the urban fabric.
Force people to wear helmets, have like restrictions on that, and then it would just make everything easier.
Traffic, pollution, and road safety are simply not as big of an issue in these places, and they achieve this without any fancy sci-fi technology at all. There's so many good alternatives here that the only people who drive here are those that really want to or need to. And because those drivers likely walk, cycle, or take transit themselves, they're much more sympathetic to people outside a car.
Yeah, but this is just a different scenario, bro. We would need it. You gotta have like bike chains and shit, bro. This motherfucker just got this on a kickstand, just settled, bro. Yo, you walk back. If you're in the US, you leave your bike like that, somebody's stealing that shit.
more sympathetic to people outside a car. Are there bad drivers here? Yeah, probably. But bad driving is just not as normalized as it is in car-dependent societies. The solution is not banning cars.
Def not, bro. Everybody has bikes, so why steal? That's true.
Just like how we didn't just flat out ban cigarettes, but we did ban smoking from bars, restaurants, and most indoor places. We did force cigarette companies to cover their packaging with health warnings. Cars are obviously different.
Oh, that's Canadian people. I was going to say the U.S. did not do that. That is what smoking packages look like in, like, other countries, though. No fumar. Fumar equal cancer.
Health warnings. Cars are
Yeah, love that. It's a lot less appealing. It's a lot less appealing when you open a pack of Marlboro Reds to smoke them, and it has a person with neck cancer just straight up on the fucking package.
Cars are obviously different. They're much more useful and have completely changed the way we travel and move goods. And sure, if you live on a farm in the middle of Nebraska, yeah, you probably need a car. This whole channel is probably irrelevant to you. But cars are also much more deadly and destructive to people and the environment. So for most people living in dense urban areas, limiting cars from certain places makes a lot of sense. We can start by pedestrianizing streets and slowly building wider sidewalks and bike lanes. Once we've expanded our public transit system and densified our downtowns, we can introduce congestion pricing and add stricter penalties for reckless driving. When smoking bans were first introduced, many people were against it. But after a while, people saw how great it was, and
Yeah, but dude, if you have like reckless driving, there's got to be like, oh my god, then people are gonna get annoyed when they pulled over. They're gonna be like, what did I do? And it becomes like a subjectivity thing for the officer to decide whether or not you're like recklessly, speeding or driving.
now you can
Or not speeding. Speeding's definitive.
never imagine going back. Likewise, congestion pricing in New York has made a lot of people upset because people don't like change, especially when it affects them. But I would bet you $9 that a year after congestion pricing gets implemented, most people are gonna forget about it because they'll see just how much better it makes the city. This happened when
Oh
cars
my god, yeah, when there's not fucking cars everywhere, dude. You don't constantly hear,
were banned from Central Park. People were angry, but now you would be crazy to think that we should let cars back in.
Like, this looks awesome, dude.
The same thing is happening to Hyde Park in Toronto. The city started closing it to cars on weekends, which has summoned every single Karen to protest
And then it gives you a type B hangout, too. More people are willing to go out and hang out in public spaces and meet new people.
about how they can't drive their 90-year-old grandma into the park anymore. But as surveys from the city show, most people would prefer a car-free park. Bad driving is normalized, but we can change what's normal through slow incremental steps. It just takes some time getting used to.
That was a fucking W video, bro. Oh my gosh.